Good evening and welcome to Martin and Forster. My name's Sue McLean and I'm a lawyer in our technology practice here at MoFo, and it's wonderful to see so many of you here tonight. As well as being a lawyer here at MoFo, one of my roles is heading up our women's network here in London, which is called MoFo Women, and also representing the UK on our global Women's Strategy Committee. So the issue of the support and leadership and promotion of women is a topic of very, very close to my heart. So when Liliana and Upward approached me about hosting tonight, I was absolutely thrilled to accept. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing from the team and from Lisa. Some very boring, brief housekeeping before I move you on to the important people this evening. The toilets are by the lift as you come in. Very important. In the unlikely event of a fire, there's a lot of instructions down here, but if you see the lady at the back of the room waving, just follow her. Hopefully that won't happen. If you could mute all phones during presentations, that would be great. However, we are 2015, so please do feel free to take photos and tweet along if that's your thing. The Wi-Fi network is welcome and the code is MoFo Access. There will be a canopy reception to follow the presentation, so we hope you can join us at the end and do a lot more mingling and networking with hopefully future Upward members. But that's enough for me. I will now pass you over to Liliana, and you can hear more about this interesting new organisation launching here in the UK. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming to the launch of Upward London. I am Lily Anna Resor, founder of Novus Ordo Capital and founder of Upward London. Here with me are my fabulous co-founders, Maria Xiao, Vice President at Espala Technologies, Shannon Lever, Director at Ground Fountain, Mariana Jacksonich, Vice President at UNI, and Paola Ambrogio, Director at UNI. It is a great pleasure for us to have as our keynote speaker Lisa Lambert, Vice President at Intel Capital and the founder of Upward. With no further time, here is Lisa Lambert.
Way back up here. Just teasing. Oh wow, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you, Lily and the whole team. You guys have been fabulous putting this together. I'm excited about today. What a big buzz out there, right? Were you guys enjoying the kind of smoothing, networking, talking about your careers and your ambitions? That's really the point of Upward. We wanted to create a global community where female executives could come together and get to know one another and proactively help each other, engage in each other's lives and each other's careers. Right? I call it a good old girls network. Right? Good old girls network. That's really what it is, right? I mean, the guys have been doing it for quite a long time, and when I show you a couple of these slides in here, you're going to see they've really benefited from it, right? If you look at the pyramid, right, we're doing great getting into the companies, but we have serious leakage as we move up in the ranks, and that's something that I think together in community we can actually fix. Because if you think about it, there's not enough women in senior roles in any one company, per se. Even in an industry, it's hard to find critical mass. But when you go cross-industry and then you go cross-region, there's potential to really create impact because of the numbers, right? And, I believe that advancement is all about being visible, putting forward your ideas, letting people know what you want, right? Talking about your accomplishments. I mean, how many folks in here talk to guys who in the first 10 minutes they give you their resume? Right? I mean, they do, and they're quite good at it, right? And they do it in a way that doesn't put you off, but you're engaged and you're listening, and you walk away thinking, wow, they've done something. I think we need to get good at that as well, because the lifeblood of any professional life today is your network. It's the community of people that you know and how vested you are in helping each other advance. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm really excited. I've got a lot of data that I'll give you about Upward in general and what inspired me to start the group. So without further ado, I'll jump in. Okay, so the idea came to me, right? I work in venture capital and I work in tech, and I probably see few women in the meetings that I have on a regular basis, right? So tech is not that great in terms of diversity. Venture capital is even worse. And so one day, this is not like I had an epiphany moment or anything, because you notice it every day when you're the only woman in the room, right? But one day I thought, guys, there is disparity here. What can I do to help change it? And so the idea came to me, why don't I just gather 40 to 50 of my closest female executive colleagues, and let's get together and talk about it. Well, that 40 to 50 ended up being 90 at our first event. And it was just like today, right? Where we had a formal dinner, and a lot of the folks said, the people I sat at table with, I'm still meeting with. Just kind of as a mini advisory group, right? Bounce off ideas, talk about issues, difficult bosses and challenges that we face as women executives. Many of them kept meeting as a group. And I thought, well, if they're meeting as small groups, then maybe we need to do another big group event. And that really is how it was born. In between that May 2013 event and the second event we had in October of 2013, Upward was formed. And we've gone from 40 to 50 people, which was my original expectation, to almost 2,000 members. We're over 1,700 today. And it's purely been word of mouth. We haven't done anything in terms of proactive marketing or proactive PR. It's just other women have talked about why they came and what they got out of it and why they keep coming back. So it really is a contagious kind of an experience that I highly encourage. So this was the inspiration and why I started it. And the notion around doing something global, I think, is really important because, as I said, there's not enough, even in your own industry, to create critical mass. Global, the idea around global is that we should be able to go anywhere in the world and find other female executives like ourselves, right? Is that valuable to you? You all travel. Who travels here? Okay, so most everybody travels here. And when you go to places, do you generally connect with other senior professional women? How many? Show my hands. Okay, 2. And I know it's not because you don't think there's value in it, and I know it's not because you're shy and you don't want to go out because you came here tonight. So it's often because we just don't know anybody, right? We don't know women. So we want to create a global community that is accessible via online, and I'll talk more about the online database that we have that we're in beta test with right now, so that wherever you go, you can connect with another senior female executive. That's the reason that we want to go global, and I think global is very important. Good old Girls Network, so this is what I talked about. We specifically targeted senior executives because there's lots of programs for women as they enter the workplace. Now in America, for example, women get more degrees at every degree level, from associate up to doctorate, than men do. So we are primed, right? We're educated, we've got drive, we've got will, we've got motivation, and we get into the workforce and everything looks good, and then, as your career progresses, it really doesn't advance, and that's the problem. So the Good Old Girls Network helped to resolve that issue. So this is a quick update on the stats. So we're over 1,700 members. We're getting 50 to 100 members each month, just via word of mouth. We're actually going to start a marketing and PR campaign shortly. So I expect that we'll double this number without much effort because it's just been word of mouth. But we're growing pretty rapidly. All those members are enrolling on our website. We are targeting senior professional women because, as I said, I think there's plenty of programs for when you enter the workforce. There's not a whole lot of programs that gives you the playbook on how you get from director level to VP level to the executive office and to CEO or to start your own company. There really is no playbook for that. I think there are very specific guidelines and approach that you can take to do that. I mean, guys have proven that. I'm going to show you this pyramid in a few moments, and they perfected it, right? They know how to advance. But there really isn't a playbook that I can, describe to you. Maybe that'll be a on that at some point, which describes how you get from one one level to another, but we know that it happens via community. We know that guys help each other, right? It's fraternal. They help each other. And I think we have a history of feeling like we're in competition with one another rather than collaborating with one another. And I think there's this perception that there just aren't enough seats at the top for women. And so if there aren't enough seats at the top for women, then we start competing for that one or two maybe seats that are at the most senior positions instead of collaborating. So I think that's something we can try to overcome with Upward and in community. But really good progress for what was an idea that I came up with and invited some people in my backyard. Remember that was the first Upward meeting. It was a group of 90 women in my backyard talking about stuff like this. So we've partitioned our programs to these three categories. The first are meetups. And the meetups are just as they sound, right? They're opportunities for us to come together and talk about relevant issues. We do a big gala dinner event each year. We did an event in San Jose that Carol Bartz spoke at last year, and it was fabulous. How many know Carol Bartz? You don't know Carol Bartz?
Personally.
Oh, not personally. You've heard of her. How many have heard of Carol Bartz? Okay, so she was the CEO of Autodesk for like 14 years, and then she was CEO of Yahoo for like 2 years, and it was a very, public departure from Yahoo. And if you know Carol, she uses a lot of colorful metaphors. So that's very polite. Oh man, you should check out the video on the website of the interview. I interviewed her on stage, and it will have you falling out of your seat. I mean, we actually had to put an adult warning on it. I'm not kidding. It's like the language is colorful, and the content is really material. She gave such great advice on dealing with this kind of thing. One of the things that she said was she thought that by now we wouldn't be talking about this. I mean, she's sitting up on stage. She says, I'm really surprised. I have a 25-year-old daughter, she says, and she's dealing with the exact same issues that I was dealing with when I was coming up in the professional ranks. And she said, shame on us. I mean, we have to do better than this. She doesn't speak very often. I mean, almost not at all since the Yahoo departure. So the Upward event that we had, she spoke at specifically because of our mission. Because she believes we should be so much further along than we are right now. And she's absolutely floored that we are not. And we're still talking about diversity in the senior ranks. So meetups, at our dinner event last year, we had 500 members attend. It was really a great event. Build-ups, these are topical discussions. We've got mentoring clinics, workshops, and table of eights, which is an idea of you have one senior mentor and 7 mentees, and you have a more intimate conversation. So we've gone from big groups, which are the topical discussions, generally 100 people, down to very small groups where you can actually get some one-on-one coaching and counseling for people who have been where you want to go. Okay, so we've got this private network. It's kind of LinkedIn on steroids, if you want to think of it that way, right? But it's specifically for the Upward community, right? Just for us. So you're going to be able to get online, and if you get a trip to, PRC, to China, and you want to know who in our community works out there, lives out there, that you can connect with while you're there, you're going to be able to do that. So it's who knows who, and who knows what. So you're going to be able to find experts in particular areas. If you've got a question about moving from your industry, which is tech, to financial services, for example, talk to somebody that's actually navigated that course, right? So you're going to have all of this available. We're rolling it out in beta now, so it's only available to the chapter leaders and to our board of directors. But, come Q3, we're going to roll it out to the entire membership. So you're going to be able to use this in a way that you can't really use LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn, there are thousands of people that are connected to me, and I probably know 2 of them. It feels that way. Doesn't it feel that way? And so you're going to get a chance to know the folks in the community. And the fact that we're all women, it really does make a difference. One of the other big feedbacks that I got after the first couple of Upward events was women felt that they could be real, right? Hair down, not being pretentious, don't have to put on or perform, which we often feel like when we're with other guys that are professional. And so it's just transparency. right? We're all in it together. We're all trying to make a difference for ourselves and for each other. And it was just a sense of calm, you know, that I don't have to be something that I'm not. I don't have to pretend to be something that I'm not. And so, you know, you're going to get that. You're going to get that at scale, you know, regionally. We're hoping, actually, this is the first of many chapters that will be launched in the European region. So I think that will be the case. So that's something that's coming as well. But that's basically the three categories. And I've also been doing a lot of writing on the subject. So I'm a writer for Fortune.com, and these are some of the recent articles that I've written. I actually just wrote one recently about handling rejection. I think women receive a disproportionate amount of rejection professionally, and what we often do is we retreat because, you know, we're disappointed, we're discouraged, it's our boss telling us we suck, you know, or something to that effect, and we tend to retreat back into our work, right? Heads down, we're fabulous at that, executing, getting our work done, and then we go home. You're kind of coming to work, but you're not really engaged, right? And so that article, I think, hopefully help shed some light. I encourage you to take a look at it. In fact, you can find all these articles at upwardwoman.org, and that's all the content. But that one was particularly pertinent, and I shared an experience that I had in my job. Many of you know that we're going to be launching a diversity fund that's targeting investments in women and minority-led tech companies. So I work at Cell Capital. I've been investing for 15 years in tech companies, and I can say the vast majority of them have been men. But now we've got a targeted fund. We're going to announce formally, so I can't talk in detail about it. We're going to announce that next week, actually. And it's going to be looking for folks like yourself, you know, if you're entrepreneurs, and investing in you, right? Which is something that really is foreign to the folks on San Ramon and Silicon Valley. So check that article out. But in that, I relate the story about the fact that I brought this idea for Upward to my boss. You know, I said, this would be a great way, we form a community, this would be a great way to identify, you know, entrepreneurial women, right? And I got kind of a blank stare. Why would we want to do that? Are there entrepreneurial women? Are we entrepreneurial? So, needless to say, I moved on, and I decided to take a different approach. Right? So this is a good example, because I said, all right, so he may not think this is a good idea. I bet you I could find some women that think this is a good idea. And so I went poking around within Intel, and sure enough, there were other women that thought this was a good idea. And yeah, this would be a great way for Intel's executive network of females to extend our reach, right, into the entrepreneurial community, into other industries, etc. And so I got all this love and all this support from these other folks. And then we took it outside, and we started creating community outside of Intel. So that was really the beginning of Upward. And if I had let what my boss said to me discourage me, and just went underground and just said, well, it must not be a good idea because he said it's not a good idea, then we wouldn't be here today. Can you imagine if there's 100 of us, or 90 of us here today? We would not be here today if I had let that discourage me. Because I can guarantee you will find like-minded, female or male, people that will agree with your idea. So go find them. You know, get out of our comfort zone, get out of our work group, get out of our, you know, our company, and extend your reach to people that have similar ideas and they want to get behind you. This is what startups do, right? And I invest in startups. This is what they do. They come up with an idea, and then they go get support for that idea by talking to lots and lots of people. Once they get support for that idea, they start to put together a program for it, right? This is what a business plan might look like. Once they get that together, then they start to put together a team. It's the exact same thing, right? And they don't have any more courage than us or any more intellect than us. They just have a drive, and they're not willing to take no for an answer. So that's my encouragement to you. And a lot of these articles speak to those types of issues. I generally send out an article on Fortune every other month or so. We've got a lot coming out as part of this launch on next Tuesday. So you'll see a lot more. In fact, produce PR and marketing to Upward around it. So do allow yourself to take a look at some of these. All right, so women-led companies lead to profitability. So that's like a no-brainer, right? But amazingly, we still haven't really gotten it, right? Like Columbia University, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, McKinsey & Company, a whole list of organizations have
proven that this is the case. The more women you have on your teams, both executive and operating teams, the better your teams perform. Better profits, better return on invested capital, better results, better everything. You know, and it kind of is contrariwise to our orientation, which is unconscious bias, right? Everybody with a brain has unconscious bias, right? We're biased by our own experiences. We believe that's the way the world looks. And our brains say that uniformity is good. Homogeneity is good. Sameness is good. And diversity isn't. That's what our brains say. So we really do have to overcome that because it's proving to be not the case at all. When we're just a small part of the executive team, we do make a difference. And these are some of the examples, right? Women tend to be more prudent decision makers. We tend to make our dollars stretch. So this is really what I do in the startup world, right? Guys like to spend lots and lots of money. It's something about bravado or something. I don't know what it is, but they burn through cash like nobody's business. And every woman executive, and I've had a few over the years that have been in the portfolio, they are so much more prudent. They're so much more, cautious isn't the right word. Measure, wise. What else? Discerning, yes. Yeah, they don't leap before they think, right? I mean, they think, they plot a course, we engage a community, and then we execute. And we execute consistently. I mean, that has proven itself out most definitely in my field. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of organizations, big banks and others, that have proven it as well. So, better mix of skills, wider talent pool. We tend to recruit out of our own networks. And if all the hirers are, you know, men, then they're going to recruit out of their network. So you almost can't blame them too much just because they know what they know and the people that they know look like them, went to the same schools, have the same ideologies, etc. So diversifying the executive team will by definition create diversity for the entire employee pool. We've seen this in this diversity fund that I mentioned. We're going to announce 4 companies with the fund announcement on next Tuesday. And in every one of the companies, we had diverse leadership. And our criteria is that you have to be a female or minority founder, CEO, or at least 3 executives reporting to the CEO. Have to be women or minorities. We have found consistently, all the companies that we looked at, these 4 that we've already closed, that when the management team is diverse, the rest of the population is diverse. 39%, 49%. We have one company, 80% women, because they have diverse leadership. Right? So you recruit out of your networks. You recruit the people that you know. And that's what happens. So diversity actually creates a wider talent pool just by definition. All right, and I talked a little bit about this earlier, profits, return on equity, after results. And these are all the sources that I've used to gather this data. If you want to go check it out, we can make the slides available to you. But it's all real data. And it's been repeated over and over and over again by a number of organizations. So I believe it. Right? We should believe it. But the barriers. Gosh, there's so many barriers. So this is the pyramid that I was talking about. It looks really good at the bottom, doesn't it? 46.8% of the labor force. And this is Fortune 500, so apologies. It's not globally represented necessarily. It's Fortune 500. It's non-US companies. But 46.8% of the US labor force are women. So that's a big number, right? That's almost half of the working population. But as you can see, you go up, in case you haven't read the slide, 16.9% of those women have board seats. 14% are executive officers. 8% are top earners, and 5% are CEOs. So you can see there's a huge leaky pipeline issue, right? As you go up the organization, we are falling off. And we're falling off for so many reasons. There's been so many studies on this. We're falling off because we're discouraged. We're falling off because we don't see a path to achievement. We're falling off because we get no a lot. We're falling off because we make other life choices. But I think oftentimes those other life choices really more are an indication of the fact that we're discouraged in our jobs, and maybe we can get something more fulfilling outside of it. So there's a lot of reasons we're falling out, and it shows up. And this is why Upward exists, right? To create a community to encourage one another when the going gets tough, because it will get tough. If you work long enough at a company, you are going to be told no, you're going to be rejected, you're going to have a difficult time. And so you need a community of women around you that have been there that can encourage you through those difficult times. They absolutely, vitally need that. Guys have that. Their social and professional networks tend to be the same. So they not only have that camaraderie when it comes to work, but they're generally are friends with the people that are their colleagues. And so they really do get that encouragement to stick with it or to go another course, right? They get a lead or a tip about a job at another company doing something similar or different, right? That community really, really matters, and that's the point I want to drive home. So you can see we have some work to do, but I think together we can do it. This is another really interesting data point that it basically says that when women hit middle management, they want more responsibility. We want the top roles, right? This is what this says. The brown or yellow color, whatever the color is, indicates that senior managers who say, it's important for me to increase my role of leadership. That's the 51%. I aspire to be in top management. That's the 31%. I'm willing to bear the cost of being in top management. It's worth the cost to me. The blue numbers are entry-level women. So they're not as motivated. Once you've kind of gone through some stuff and realize that you can achieve and you've got skills, you get more motivated for more responsibility. The problem is, if you get to those levels, more responsibility doesn't come. And so, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I'm still in the same job. I can't get past this level. Intel did a survey interviewing that I would call above entry-level ranks, right? So more senior, but kind of senior manager level and above. And over and over and over again, we heard that story. I can't get past this level. I don't know how to get visibility so that I can get a good job. The guy sitting next to me gets the job every single time. And people just resign themselves to, well, I'm just going to come to work, I'm going to make a check, and then I'm going to go home. I'm going to stop trying. It gets really discouraging. Despite the fact that they see that with more responsibility comes more a sense of achievement, and they want more of it. But if you can't get the job, you're kind of stuck. All right, so this is what our members are saying. I won't read these, but basically it says, they love it. They love the fact that they can get together with other female executives who are going through the same thing to give them ideas on how to overcome difficulties, how to achieve, to get inspiration. Sometimes we just need a little pep talk, right? And guys do that, right? They're in the locker room, they're popping each other on the butt, they're high-fiving. You rock, you're the best, right? And we just gotta do that. We gotta do that with that, ladies. I think we should, when we leave, you should just hit each other on the butt. More of that. This idea of us competing, guys, we've got to get over that. It isn't about that. There are so many jobs available. If you can't advance at your company, then think about another company. I can guarantee you, with all of the focus on diversity and inclusion today, you can get another job in another company. Get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable, right? Get comfortable out of your zone of, I know this job, I have 100% of the qualifications for this job, and I'm going to be successful in this job. You will be expert in that job. You probably will not go any further. And so use your network to find out other opportunities where you can expand. Because I can guarantee you, you're going to run into it in your current company, and you're going to ask yourself, what can I do about it? You're going to make a decision. You're going to decide to be content with it, grin and bear it, and then never realize your potential. Or to go outside, extend your reach, and find an opportunity through your community of colleagues where you can achieve. Then that may mean going to another big company. That may mean starting your own company. Women are we're very entrepreneurial, right? I mean, we are. We're adventure oriented, right? We want to accomplish. We want to achieve. And so just think of it outside of the box of your current situation, because if you only limit yourself to your current situation, you're probably not going to go very far. I can guarantee you, lifetime employment where you can advance just is dead. You really have to spend more time on an effort, please. All right, then just a couple more slides. It's a little long here, right? Yeah, we're going to break out of here in just a couple minutes. But I wanted to tell you all this because we've got sponsorship levels, and we've got 18 sponsors. And I started paying for this. The first year and a half, I was the top sponsor.
You got a tax deduction?
Yes, yeah, I did get a tax deduction, so that was good. But yeah, I was the top sponsor. And then the last year and a half or so, I've been able to recruit sponsors because everybody cares about this subject now. I don't know what it is, why now, but companies care about this. So we've got a great list of companies that Morrison Forrester were gracious enough to host this and to pay for the whole thing. So a big thank you to them for that. But a lot of companies see the value proposition. So we always like to just leave this with you because if you know companies or you're at a company that has a program around diversity and inclusion, you should definitely tell them about what we're doing here. These are the levels. There's a lot more detail. We actually have a sponsorship presentation which has all of the benefits for each one of the levels. But we'd love to get your companies involved or if you know of folks that would be interested. And this is the tremendous list of companies that we have already engaged. And this, honestly, this is really just my work, right? If we got a broader community of women actually seeking sponsors, this thing could be enormous, right? So, at any rate, that is my last slide. That's all that I wanted to say today. I want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions before we head back out and do a little more networking. So, are there any questions? And I'm going to have to be behind this mic because
I was going to give you the other mic, actually.
Another mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's a question there.
Everyone here this evening. So my name is Sue Technology and I'm past president of Women in Banking and actually Leanne who came to our awards luncheon last year. So there are several women's networks that are out there. I'm just wondering how you're going to work together with some of the other women's networks, because together we can have an even greater impact. So there's Women in Banking and Finance, there's City Women's Network, there's the 30% Club, there's We Are the City. Sue here is involved with certain startups and memberships and networks. So how do we all make an even bigger impact?
Yeah, we have a partnership strategy, and we talk about that pretty regularly. The one challenge that I found as we try to expand to work with other groups is that ours is focused on senior professional women, and a lot of the organizations that we know about aren't. And so, our members, the feedback they've given is they don't want to dilute the membership by having junior people in it. And so that would be the challenge. If we could find truly simpatico organizations, right, where we have a similar mission serving senior professional women, then I think it's easy for us to do events together, to partner together. In fact, in Toronto, we're going to launch in Toronto next year, and I'm in contact with 3 organizations, all of which serve senior professional women, executive women, they call them. And we're going to merge the 3 of them because there were 3 groups, they were each being run by 1 person, and they were all burned out, just exhausted. So we're going to merge all 3 of those under the Upward umbrella, and then we're going to partner together, right? We're going to go to the broader Toronto area and other parts of Canada to reach other senior women. So I think it's absolutely a great idea. It's just finding the right matches is the challenge for us, because we really don't want to dilute the membership with junior people. We love junior people, they're the future, but there's 1,000 organizations in every region to support them. Yes?
Hi, I'm Priya Prakash from Design for Social Change. It's my first women's event, and I should be honest, I was a bit worried being surrounded by so many women. But tech background, I'm used to being surrounded by developers, so it's quite friendly, so thank you all. I was curious because most of my friends are actually men, and I don't have, I have had some of those issues you mentioned. I was wondering how do you work with the old schoolboy network? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we absolutely have to. I mean, the pyramid shows it, right? They have the power positions, so we can't ignore them. Though we would like to. No, seriously. I think most of us would probably raise their hand and say most of our colleagues, professional colleagues, are men. Is that true? Would you say that? Yeah. So, you kind of know how to work with them, right? And they like to be strong. They like to be, encouraged. You like to be inspiring, right? So you do the things that you need to do to work with senior professional men as creatively as you can. And I would try using a lot of the tools that they actually exhibit, right? I mean, as I said, when you talk to a man, you're going to get most likely an abbreviated version of their resume. You know, they're going to talk about how great they are, but they do it in a way that doesn't piss people off, right? I mean, it doesn't offend people, it doesn't set them back, and, you know, learn from that, right? Learn from how they fix themselves, learn from how visible they make themselves, learn from the projects that they select, right? Pick their brains on how they do what they do. If it's a successful professional man, find out how he navigated his career. What's his ideology, right? What's his philosophy about career? I would guarantee that it's going to be different than yours. And so just expanding a perspective and knowledge as you're connecting with males and females is worth the effort. You know, and being very targeted about your networking. One of the things I see a lot of, especially when we spread the world, right? And we send lots of emails, we try to get a lot of one-on-ones with people, and we really haven't, one, done the homework on why this person is important for you to know, and even more importantly, how you can help them. Because everybody's busy these days, and when you do the spray and pray thing, and hope you get, you know, some people to reply back to you, I think it's less effective. It's much more effective when it's targeted, when you thought about it, when you did the homework, so that when you go have that conversation, you can talk about what you can do for them, and what you expect from them, what you're asking of them. People tend to give you their time and give you their help when they know that helping you helps them. So those are just some of the things that I think, and guys really, really value that, right? They value being respected, they value being admired, you know, so, you know, use those tools as well as you're talking to men, because that really does make a difference. But do your homework, that's probably the biggest takeaway.
When men have groups that I'm not allowed into, I get really pissed off by it. Where do you see the role of men in the topic?
You know, I mean, honestly, my short-term vision is getting us organized around each other and helping each other. I think that's a bigger hurdle for us to come than engaging men. I think a lot of men believe the data, and then, you know, every man that I know has a mother. You know, a lot of them have wives, a lot of them have daughters, they have nieces, so they have an emotional orientation towards solving this problem, right? They want their kids to grow up in a world that's better than the world they're in. And they know for women that they're disadvantaged. So, you know, you're going to be able to bring men along. And as I say, most of you in the room, most of your colleagues are men. So you've already learned how to build relationships, how to maintain relationships, and hopefully how to give to those relationships. I think we suffer from not doing that as much as women. So I'm, at least in the short term, I'm just very narrowly focused on that. How do we keep getting women to come together in a community like this and to really think about proactively helping each other and changing the demographics through that participation? I think if we can do that, then opening the door to men, once we've gotten ourselves organized and aligned, will be easy. Because they do this, right? They did this thing, right? They've been doing the good old boys thing since business started back, you know, 1,000 years ago, however long ago, right? They know how to do it. They know how to do the networking. They know how to do the visibility thing. They know how to reach out. They don't stay in their comfort zone generally. And it's not all men, obviously, but a lot of them. So I think we need to focus on us for a little while, and then reach out to guys. That's my take.
So I agree. I think the whole networking and mentoring, coaching, all great stuff. It just seems not enough. You know, in terms of you mentioned the entrepreneurship, the stress that we have made no progress in the last 20 years. I think from this bottom-up perspective, individually and collectively we can make change, but do you think it has to be more top-down policy-driven? What are your views on a bit more either corporate policy or even government policy?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We need, you know, our CEO in January this year, Intel CEO Brian Pachenek, went to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and he got on stage and he talked about a $300 million program around diversity and technology. Us fixing our business, right? Getting more women in senior roles, getting more women to stay with Intel, and getting to parity in terms of market availability. That was job one. Job two was influencing the industry as a whole. How do we change our industry, which is notorious for being underrepresented and underdiverse? So that was huge. The reason we're doing this diversity fund that I mentioned, this equity fund, is because of him. And so that top-down thing really is important. And I'm all for government quotas. I'm all for anything that will help change the demographic, change the atmosphere, because I tell you, the data shows that once you do that, you're going to see results. And we have enough examples of successful companies that are diverse, then it's going to start happening automatically. So it needs to happen from the bottom, from the top, from the sides, from everywhere. And there are a lot of good leaders that are taking this on. And increasingly we're finding there are a lot of companies that are at least looking at it. Now, I'm not sure that they're going to be, I don't know that everyone is going to be super successful in integrating it across a spectrum of programs across their entire company. But at least they're taking a step forward. Right? There was a time we didn't even talk about it. It was kind of taboo. And so that is changing. But we definitely need help. So if you're in policy roles, public roles, or you're in corporations, raise the flag at your company. You do it in a way that's respectful and that is sensitive to the fact that some people won't like this idea, but do it. Because if we don't have us doing it with one another, helping each other, and if we don't have some strong influence in our companies and in our governments, it's really not going to change. I mean, I think what we can do is perfect our ability to help each other. But we really do need help from institutions, both public and private, to really get. Yes.
Hi, Lisa. We've all spoken about.
Sorry, touch my mic, sorry.
We're just recording it, so we just want to make sure we capture the question.
We've heard a lot tonight about the challenges of working in a very male-dominated environment. But perhaps there's also an unspoken boundary as well, which I've seen many times, which is sometimes it's another woman in an organisation who's got to a senior role herself and draws the ladder up. And I've heard many stories from other executive women that's their biggest challenge, and actually they've got good relationships with other men. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, there's generally not that many women up at the senior levels to be too worried about that. I wouldn't focus too much on it. There definitely is Queen Bee. There's I made it, so you're going to go to the same hill that I went through to get to the top, and I'm not going to help you. There's that. But honestly, there's not enough senior women up there, right? So if there's just one, then just move down to the side and go work with the 5 or 6 people that are like-minded, that actually care. Right? You are going to, and I know you all have because you're all very senior, you're going to face opposition every which way you go. Focus on who's like-minded. Carol Bard said, there are, in every company, people that are simpatico, who are like-minded, they agree with you, and you can get together with them. That's what I did with Lambert when I started it. There are people that can be changed. Find those people, right? Because they may not be with you today, but with a few arguments and a few examples and some demonstration of the value, they can get there. And then there's everybody else. She called them assholes, but I was literally, she did. And she said, just stay away from them. And so it sounds like this woman may be in that category, and that's okay. You know, she climbed the ladder. I'm sure she went through hell to get there, and she probably feels like she didn't know anybody anything. I don't think that's a long-term sustainable strategy. I think eventually that comes back to you. But don't let it be a hindrance for you, right? Go find the people that are either on your same page or that can be changed and will come along with you and make the movement that way. There are more of the first 2 categories than there is of the latter. I'm convinced. At every company, there are more of them. Problem is we focus on the assholes and not on the first 2 categories. And so we get discouraged by that instead of realizing the opportunity by partnering with the bigger group. Yes?
Hi Lisa, thank you for everything that you and the team are doing. I've got an observation and a suggestion. Here in the UK, I'm from the US originally and I've lived here a long time. Here in the UK, headhunters actually control access and information around what senior roles are available. They tend to be, with apologies to any of the profession in the room, some of the most conservative people about taking risks.
Yeah.
And they will often say it's their clients who are specifying and they have no latitude, and it's unfortunate, and clearly you're very talented, why don't you go start a business? So are you planning on holding your sponsors, such as Korn Ferry, to account in this way? Or perhaps are you going to ask the community to be more transparent about what senior roles are available so that we can all discover them more easily?
Yeah, that's a very good question and a good comment. You're right. At the end of the day, executive search firms want to close the search. So they don't care about diversity. They don't have a diversity initiative. They have a return on investment profitability initiative. So all they care about is closing the deal. I don't know that we can change that as an organization. I think maybe you influence that from within. You know, Korn Ferry, to their credit, they're sponsoring our next event. We're doing an event on June 25th in Saratoga, at my home, that is focused on strategically building and leveraging your network. So they're paying for it. They're going to be on the panel. We've got an executive from LinkedIn and an executive from Twitter also on the panel. We're going to talk about how you build a network and how do you use it to advance yourself. So there are, again, this idea of simpatico, people that are like-minded at those companies. And I think you try to find those people and you get them involved in something like this. Because when they have a proof point, like the event we're going to do on June 25th, they can go back to their executive staff and say, look at what's happening here. We really do have to get serious about including female candidates because all these big companies are behind it, an increasing number of them, and because there's so much talent. And we're wasting an opportunity to bring in a diverse candidate because we haven't really invested in building a diverse community. That's why Korn Ferry is doing this. They want access to a diverse community of executive women that they can bring into, you know, their company, their customers. So there are some that are there with you. Yes.
Yes, Lisa. Thank you very much for your energy on this issue. I have 3 daughters, so I'm really concerned for my daughters. But yeah, to come back on your presentation, you had this slide with kind of 3 boxes, and a lot of the women groups do the meet-up, the build-up, but not the move-up. And I'd like you to hear a little bit more about the move-up, which is, I think, very ambitious and nice.
Yeah, that is the key. And that's what we're going to talk about on June 5th. How do you leverage the network? Once you've built it, a lot of women haven't even built it, right? So first you got to take the step to extend your reach, right? And begin to build a community of people that are experts in areas that you care about, or that have a job that you want, or in an industry that you want. I mean, be proactive and deliberate, very focused, do your homework. So you have to do that first, and then it's how you leverage it. The advice that I give women on leveraging network. Well, I think the biggest thing is just overcoming the mindset that you can achieve all of your goals with your current company. You're probably not going to do that in this day and age. So you have to open up your mind about the possibility of doing something that you love in another company or in another industry. To me, that's step 1. Unless you change your mindset about this kind of thing, you're going to stay where you are. Because honestly, it's just very comfortable to stay where you are. It's really easy, even though you may have a crappy boss and you don't like seeing them. But it's a job you know, and you've proven that you can excel at it. It's getting out of your comfort zone. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is really, really important. To me, that's more a mindset, and you start to relieve the shackles, if you will, of your current position by talking to other people. When you find out what it's like to work in this job, or what it's like to work at this company, or what it's like to work in a different region, you start to open up your mind to possibilities. And I think that is a must step, right? Taking the effort to meet people, and then reminding yourself, convincing yourself that if you want to achieve your dreams, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. And then getting uncomfortable with being out of your comfort zone. And then taking a risk. Go do something different. To me, those 4 things, if you can do that consistently, you will be very satisfied with your career. It's not going to be easy, and you're going to have opposition to deal with, but you are ultimately going to be proud of your effort, and you're probably going to be further along in your career. I know that any of you, if you were to reach out into other fields or other companies, maybe in the same industry, that you would get promoted. It happens all the time at Intel, right? We bring in senior level people, and we're like, well, why didn't you just promote the people that were there? Because there's this bias against the people that are there, right? So just doing those things, it's a much bigger topic that I can cover. We're going to do a full networking session on it. But those would be some of the tips that I would give. We have one more question up front.
Yeah, I just have the same, as a hiring manager, I continuously ask the headhunters to get me a diverse slate of women.
Yeah.
And I've been here in the UK for 10 years.
Do they?
And they're always like,
Anna, there just aren't the men in this particular category.
Right.
I go, you cannot tell me that there are no women. You are not lifting up the rocks enough. So that's why I was intrigued by your database.
Yeah.
Because even if you gave those guys or
Yeah.
people access to that database, then it gets them to, you know, at least be able to mine that kind of marzipan layer that gets referenced over here.
That's right, that's right. No, I agree. I think that database is going to be huge, and it will be up to the members on whether they let service providers have access to it. But the idea of having a repository of senior executive women is very appealing. I mean, honestly, that's why I so support Barry for doing this event. It wasn't just the people that are going to come to the event. We've got 180, 200 or so RSVP. But it was the access to the broader community of people. And they really are being asked to diversify the candidates. They are still giving the excuse that they aren't there, but they're going to get to a point where they can't make that excuse anymore because there are so many of us. So I think a group like this actually helps validate the fact that they need to change their behavior, and they frankly need to change the people that are looking and doing the searches, right? Because again, they're searching for candidates out in their network, and their networks tend to look like them. And if you look at most executive search firms, the search partner is generally a man. So they're doing what they do. They're probably being honest when they say there aren't any out there because they don't have access to them, right? So
yeah, they're using their network.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you though, just to continue on, in terms of the London chapter, like what events are you going to host that are going to create these kind of micro groups that will be able to network on various topics that you're interested in?
Yeah, well, I think the format that I talked about earlier in terms of type of group, it is true for this chapter. We probably won't do a gala dinner event, at least not in the immediate term. It took me
Unless someone wants to sponsor
that. That's true. I think gala, I think at least 500 people, right? So it's a big event. But all of these, you know, it's choosing the format that you want and then finding some good speakers around a topic you care about. And I started surveying the members in Upward just to say, what are the things you care about? What are the things that you want to hear about? And as we get speakers, we can put on events. And I think, you know, this thing will speak for itself.
You will all be receiving a survey that Shannon prepared, and so you'll get an opportunity to give us feedback about what kind of event you'd like, also what you might like to contribute to the organizing team, and any other things like that. Yeah, I think we're thinking about the middle section there.
Yeah, really focusing on kind of the build-up, which is all the things that I've been talking about, right? How do you network? How do you leverage that to build, advance your career? You know, we did panels on how do you start a company. If you want to be an entrepreneur, how do you start a company? What's the how-to manual on that, right? How do you go from director to VP level? We've done topics on that. How do you get to the C-suite? The table of eights are all about that. That is the subject of all the table of eights. It's a 7-on-1 interview with somebody that's made it to the C-suite, and they give you a play-by-play on how they did it. So you can do as many of these types of events as you like. Everybody's going to have access to this. I think in the Q3 timeframe, once we make it through the beta, so you'll be able to tap folks to do smaller groups. We're actually going to launch a concept called small groups next year, which are going to be like the table of eight, but a little bigger. These are generally 100 people, these are generally 50 people, these are generally 20 to 30 people because they're very hands-on, and these are 8, right? So we're going to have something between there that we call small group that persists, right? It's not a one-time event. All of these are basically one-time things. We change the topic and we get, people want to participate depending on the topic. And so we're going to have these persistent small groups because one of the things that came back out of feedback was the idea of having a female advisory board of executives was really, really attractive, right? Just somebody that you can bounce ideas off, get some advice from, right? Get some direction on something that you're dealing with. And having that in a regular group form, kind of like what I said at the beginning, where folks that set a table with each other at the first event kept meeting as a small group. We're going to do something like that as well. There's all kinds of opportunities, and this group of amazing ladies are going to be putting some things together for you. And of course, you're part of Upwards, so you're going to have our capital, our access to sponsors, our resources. One of my employees helped put this event on. She did a lot of the work on it, so we're going to provide those resources to the team as well. All right, I think on that note, because it's hot in here, we're going to wrap it up, and Lily's going to do that for us. You don't want to know.
We hope you have enjoyed this evening so far, and we hope you believe you can make a difference by being part of Upward, a global network of senior-level female professionals where women can help each other grow professionally. We will send you an invite to join Upward. We hope you join Upward. And as well, we will be sending you an invitation, a survey, where we would like to get your thoughts on what kind of events you would like to attend. We would like to thank Morrison & Foerster for being our sponsor tonight. I would like to thank Susan McLean, Mary Carey from Morrison & Foerster for helping put together this event tonight. Many thanks to my fabulous co-founders, Maria, Shannon, Miriana, and Paola. And last but not least, thank you to Lisa Lambert for flying from San Francisco to London to be our keynote speaker. Please join us now at the following reception.